Hello, everyone, and welcome into the B&T Sports Talk Show. I'm your boy T, and to my right, or is it left? Whatever. It's your boy B. How you doing, B?
I'm good, man. How you
Oh,
doing?
I'm good, man. A little bit of a different setting, y'all. If I look crazy, I'm sorry. A little bit of sickness running around our household, so I got to make sure I'm isolated from the sickness so that I can go to work tomorrow and be here for all of you without hacking up loogies and looking all crazy and having a fever and yada yada yada. So
having boogies flying out of your nose and
exactly. Nobody
everything.
wants to see that. So forgive my appearance if I look kind of crazy. Not in my normal setting, but either way, we're going to get the party started. So if this is your first time listening, viewing, go ahead and hit that subscription button, hit that notification button, hit the like button too. We
Yeah,
appreciate it. B, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. And for everyone joining the chat, thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, go check out Godzilla -1. It is in full Japanese, all subtitles. Dude, great movie, man. I went to go watch it last night. I, I'm a huge Godzilla fan. This by far was the best movie the franchise has ever put out. For the Japanese show here in the States as well. It was off the charts, man. Definitely recommended to go see Godzilla -1.
Absolutely. There you go. Recommendation. See, now we got to start doing reviews of movies. I mean, we're only at the tip of the iceberg here. We got B giving us the real on a good movie, so I'm going to check that out too. B, we'll start out with some shout outs. B, I'll let you hit
Yeah,
what we got.
man. An unfortunate ending to Sacramento State season. They lost in their second round playoff game to South Dakota 34-24, ending their season here. So we just want to congratulate the Sacramento State Hornets for a good season. Obviously, not the outcome any team wants when making the playoffs, but hey, it's hard. It's hard enough to make the playoffs and to win a game at least there. So, congratulations on there. And then Brandon, if you're watching, man, we'd love to have you on the show. Give us a full breakdown of your guys' season here. What you think of the college football playoffs setup? We'd love to have you as a part of our show, man.
Awesome. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, oh man, let's jump into it. I mean, this was quite the week in football. There was one big game on the schedule, and I think everybody had their eyes on this game for the past, I want to say 3 weeks, almost a month. And that's going to be the
Yeah.
49ers versus the Eagles, two of the top teams in the entire NFL playing each other head on in Philly. And I wish I could say it did not disappoint because it kind of started off like this was it. You know, guys are getting into it before the game. Guys are hit. We had some punches thrown. We had some words flying. It was an interesting game for sure. However, the final score was 42-19. Unfortunately, the Niners handled business overall, and the Eagles came out looking kind of strong. They got two opportunities in the red zone and could not get it done. Kicked two field goals, and the Niners did not kick very many field goals. They went down, got a couple of scores, I believe, in the second, and then got the ball at the start of the second half, got another TD, and man, they walked away with a pretty substantial win in the eyes of the NFL. I mean, this is a good team they just played, and they kind of mud stomped them, man. But there was some extracurriculars going on. So before we get into that, B, what did you think of the game, man?
Dude, it was for the first 2.5 quarters, it lived up to its hype.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you know, with the way the game started for the 49ers, well, I didn't think it was going to end the way it did, to say the least, there. Because they came out flat. Not once did the Niners run the ball in that first quarter. It was a pass
yeah.
heavy
I don't know what that
first
was.
quarter. It's like, what are you guys doing? You got Christian McCaffrey sitting in the backfield, just, he's ready to go. And the Eagles made it look like that they weren't going to be stopped offensively here. The Niners could not get to Jalen Hurts for that first quarter there. And yes, it is a four-quarter game. The way the tempo was set up, you would have thought that this game would have ended early. But the Niners defense, like you said, held to two field goals in that first quarter, and that was big for them. Because had they scored two touchdowns, we don't know what this outcome would have really been.
Yeah,
But all we know is that that defense gave them the opportunity, and it gave the Niners offense that much life. Because that second quarter, they shot out of a cannon.
yeah.
from the second quarter to the fourth quarter, 14 points a quarter.
was,
And it wasn't even close. They literally just marched down the field. And very rarely were the Niners in the goal line either. A lot of these were big plays. Supposedly the Eagles forgot how to tackle because Deebo Samuel ran wild
yeah,
today, all over the Eagles, and they could not. And then the Niners started running the ball to the left. The Eagles defense did not make that adjustment there. The Niners just force-fed McCaffrey to the left side every single time there. So you saw that starting to take place, and saw it started to wear on the Eagles defensive line because those 2 to 3 yards or even those no-yard gains were starting to pile onto the Eagles defense, and it turned into big yards, which then opened up the offense for the passing game as well. So I got to give kudos to Brock Purdy, man. He almost threw for 400 yards after -6 yards in the first quarter. You would have never known that.
yeah. Yeah, it was looking pretty tough to start, but as we mentioned, that defense held them at bay, or held the Eagles at bay from putting points on the board and only walking away with 6. I mean, the Niners are legit. I mean, they do what they do best. They got back to running the ball after the first quarter, where they seemingly, and I text you about it, B, was just they just, I guess they just got a little pass happy to start the game. They got back into what they did, making easy throws for Brock Purdy to just step back, not hold the ball for very long, get the ball out. A lot of those short catches that should have been maybe 7-yard or 10-yard receptions turned into 15, 20-yard chunks, especially if you plays to Kittle, Deebo Samuel. Guys were getting a lot of yards after the carry. Even I know Jennings got involved. So, hey, man, look, this is what they do. And I think the league has been put on notice for a little while now. They had their slippage, like we talked about before. They had their slippage a few games ago. Now they're back on track. And we talk about this a lot, right? You want to be playing your best at the best opportune time. Now they're playing their best football. So they're in good shape going into the playoffs, as the Seahawks, are on their way down. And, I don't know why the Rams are winning games. But anyway, the 49ers, the 49ers are in the driver's seat. They're in the driver's seat at this point. They do need another loss from Philly if they want to win out, if they want to have home field throughout the playoffs. But for now, it looks like they're going to have home field until they play in the NFC Championship game, unless the Eagles decide to drop another game, in which case the Niners, as we saw, own the tiebreaker. Mm-hmm. So, we got some drama these last couple of games, man. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is. And then the Eagles get the Cowboys next week as well. So this gauntlet for their schedule isn't over yet. Yeah. So all Niner fans are now going to be Cowboys fans because they need that. They already own the tiebreaker over the Cowboys, and they own it over the Eagles now. So a loss here, it's going to cause chaos, but the Niners are going to sit good, having the tiebreaker over both of those teams here. They separated themselves as far as you got to look at the Niners now as the top team in the NFL. They earned that right today. We've been very critical of them for the last few weeks when they were down, and rightfully so, because, again, at the beginning of the season, this was a Super Bowl or bust for them. Yeah. And they were almost playing their way out of it, and they got back on track here.
Yeah.
The 10-game break helped, and that is not an excuse for the way the Eagles played today. The Eagles had time to prepare for this game. The Niners just had a couple of extra days. All right, it's the schedule. You can't look at the schedule and go, oh, well, the Niners had 3 additional days off. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's how the schedule played out for them. You can't control that. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I was starting to think about is when Hurts went down, because when he got sandwiched by Fred Warner and the other linebacker, I could hear Eagles fans going, oh, man, well, this game's not going to be the same without Jalen Hurts. Hey, Niner fans had to watch the NFC Championship game as Christian McCaffrey is their quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was rough.
So at least they had their backup. So there were no excuses for taking an L the way you did today. Both teams played in a bad field condition. It wasn't as bad as last week in Philly, but the field wasn't really great. Niners came out and absolutely just curb stomped the Eagles here, and to the point where Eagles fans were already gone.
Yeah.
Midway through the fourth quarter, and it's like.
It's
Philly. Do the thing now.
It's Philly fan, baby. You got to beat the traffic. They'll turn on you real quick. Remember, they booed Santa Claus. You have to remember that. So it's just that's just what it is. But let's talk
Oh
about
man.
some of the extracurriculars during the game. I mentioned earlier that at the beginning of the game there was some tempers flaring between players before kickoff as guys got to pushing and shoving, which I love. We even saw the head coach of the Eagles having a little bit of a jawing session with a coaching staff member from the 49ers. So this thing was building up to be something else, and boy, did it live up to it. So the biggest play, off the field play, we'll say, was the play by Greenlaw, where he gets I believe he got a flag.
Suplex.
He got a flag for suplexing.
Suplex
I forgot who it was. Was it
Smith.
Smith?
Devontae Smith. He
Devontae Smith.
suplexed him.
And then a pushing match, ensues. At which point the head of security for the Eagles, goes to kind of push him in the chest, and Greenlaw gives him a right jab, right to the little jab. It barely caught him, he caught him just enough, and ultimately got thrown out of the game because of that. Obviously, one, he got the penalty. Two, he's swinging on staff members over here on the sideline, but. I text you when I saw that. I text you. I was like, man, the spirit of Draymond is with us. I don't know what Greenlaw was thinking. Dude plays at 1,000%. Nothing wrong with that. The suplex I can look past, but man, punching the security guy. I mean, come on, man. I mean, we in the middle of a football game. Do we really need to throw a punch at head of security who was a pretty big guy? I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he seemed like he was fairly
What was the name
formidable.
you gave him?
Oh
What
yeah,
was
I
the
said
name you
he.
gave him to me?
I said it looked like he punched Tony Soprano. I mean, it was a big guy. It was a big Italian. He had the Italian flag on the side of his hat. I mean,
Yep.
he had the gold chain on. He had the kind of the build, wide shoulders, kind of big. I don't know, man. I mean, Greenlaw should apologize quickly. It might be sleeping with the fishes. You better be careful.
I don't think Greenlaw needs to apologize.
Here, I
He
think he
deserved the
did already.
flag for. I think he deserved the flag for suplexing Devontae Smith. I mean, look, there's a football tackle and there's a wrestling move that was clearly a wrestling move on Greenlaw's part. But again, that stems all from the chippiness that all started at the beginning of the game
Right.
and during the game. But where the head of security is wrong is, what the hell are you doing on that end of the field here? You are supposed to be with the head coach. It's the whole job of you being head of security, because it's your job to flag down the other head coaches and running across the field to shake hands with, right? Instead, he's getting involved with players that he shouldn't be involved with.
Yeah, but B, how many times do you see a situation like that happen, and there's just
You don't.
5 to 10 guys? No, you do. 5 to 10 guys doing the arm thing, pushing people away, trying to diffuse the situation.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. It's not like he punched Greenlaw. He just pushed him in the chest like, hey, calm down. And then the guy comes with
But it's governed by the players.
yeah, it is. But
The
when you're
players
on
in
their
that pile.
when you're on their sideline, anybody can get involved. That's generally how it works, right? I mean, once you get on that sideline, anything could break. Anything could happen. When you're on the opposing team sideline, man, and it just was unnecessary. You didn't have to throw a punch at that guy, and then like you mentioned before the show, and then to try to play it off with a point as though the cameras weren't gonna play this in slow motion and see his knuckles slightly graze this guy's cheek. Oh man, and you know what cracked me up? This guy was hot. I mean, he was mad. Did you see how red his face was? I mean, he was pissed. And I kind of wanted to see it keep going just to see what would happen, but ultimately it's going to get broken up. And then the refs go over to him and tell him not only does Greenlaw need to leave, but the head security apparently got suspended too. He got ejected as well. So I thought that was pretty funny.
But that's good on the refs there. It wasn't an individual thing. That they were like, look, both of y'all are going. In all honesty, yeah, if Greenlaw really doesn't throw the punch, maybe if he pushes him, right, he's still in this game. Now, obviously, it didn't matter because the Niners defense was still playing well without Greenlaw, but that just added extra motivation for those guys there. At the same time, though, Greenlaw has to know who he's getting involved with. The guy had no helmet on. He had no pads on. should be the least of your worries there. Is he going to back down from it? No, he's not. He's a professional player.
Yeah.
It is a big-time matchup. The Niners have something to prove from the NFC Championship game. So, yeah, everything is going to get amped up that much more. But the fact that he punched someone without pads on, look, it may have not been a formal punch, but the matter of the fact is his knuckle grazed his cheek.
Yeah.
All right. And so by law, it's a punch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people just don't belong. He just did not belong in that situation there. He should have been pulling guys away. Instead, he had focus on Greenlaw, and this is what it turned into.
Yeah, I mean, he's pushing the guy away because the guy is trying to get into his. Greenlaw's the guy that's being the aggressor, man. So, I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna back down with the guy being aggressive with your team or your staff members or whatever you want to call it? Yeah, he's gonna step in and put his arm on your chest and do one of these numbers. Honestly, I don't think it's a big deal. I just think Greenlaw overreacted. He was in the heat of the moment. I totally get it. But in the end, they win. So no worries. If they somehow lose this game, yeah, then you're gonna go back and you're gonna say, "Hey, dude, like we probably could have used you in this game." It's like I said, it's the Draymond effect, right? It's like when Draymond tackled somebody from the. Who did he tackle? He tackled. Who was that?
Or something like that from the Clippers.
Yeah, he like straight tackled him, just rolled him over. I don't know, man. Sometimes guys get in the heat of the moment. They do strange stuff, man. Like I said, I just hope he didn't hit the wrong guy because I don't, he might have to get out of town. He might have to get out of town quick.
I know, right? And, I think the biggest thing, too, for the Niners defense was their secondary and their DBs showed up today.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown is a huge specimen of a football player. And the fact that they were able to limit him, there were some big plays by the DBs that prevented touchdowns that were well played.
Yeah.
You see a lot of guys in this league who will get a pass interference call for not being in the right position, not turning around, not putting their hands up. They played a really good game on the corners there. Outside of that first quarter, they were pretty solid there. They prevented a lot of easy touchdowns for the Eagles.
Ward had a couple. Ward he played really well.
Ward had a really good game today. He deserves a lot of that. Back-to-back games where he's had to go against DK Metcalf and AJ Brown and held them down pretty well, to say the least.
Yeah, and the fact that Jalen Hurts was standing back there a lot, and he had a lot of time for a majority of the game, not all the game, but a majority of the game. And he, like you said, the DB stepped up because he could not find anywhere to throw. Personally, I thought he would have been better served to start looking to use his legs earlier in the game. He sat back there in the pocket for far too long, in my opinion. And when you're playing against a defense that's this good, you really have to threaten the line of scrimmage just to make some of those linebackers and folks move up a little bit to open up some plays for you. We see guys like Pat Mahomes do it all the time. They get out of trouble, they get right up to that line of scrimmage and make a play, or they run, pick up a couple of yards. Now, he did have a couple of plays where he, got out on the edges. And don't get me wrong, the Niners did a great job of keeping him in the cage, especially in the second. In the second half, they did a great job of making sure he couldn't go anywhere. But the fact that he had all that time and still couldn't find anybody open, hey man, hats off to the Niners for finding a way to get it done.
There were a couple plays he was running down the sideline. He was going to find himself into next week, to say the least. That linebacker core was flying around the field, dude. That was not for the faint of heart if you were getting tackled by those dudes.
Look, as much as we talked about the Greenlaw thing, he punched that guy in the face. If they're punching security guards on your sideline, you better believe they're going to hit you. And I think in a strange way that set the tone for the rest of the game, because at that point, Philly had scored a touchdown shortly after that. And then the Niners went right down the field, touchdown, and all of a sudden it was like, uh-oh, I think the Eagles in trouble. So I think that helped set the tone. Like you said, yeah, you're right. He didn't want to go down the sideline or get hit because these guys are crazy. It's just like crazy. Just like you got Bobby Boucher out here tackling
Fred Warner,
tackling everybody, including security. Going after security guards. Yeah, man, you're gonna take a moment to pause before you go running up that field. And so, yeah, good for the Niners. I mean, it's all good old fashioned smash mouth football. You make guys think about you whenever they don't have the ball in their hand, so that when they do, they instead of being a reception, they get alligator arms. Instead of being a 15-yard run on the sideline, they step out of bounds. All those things matter. So yeah, man, Greenlaw put that
They
in
really
effect.
they shortened the field on the Eagles after the first
Yeah,
quarter. Like they really put a clamp down on it. And now the Niners are sitting in a good position to have a track to the 1 seed there. When you look at the losses that the Niners had, you eliminate two of those bad losses here. Now they're sitting in the number 1 seed. I think the loss against the Browns was a bad one. And I'll throw the
the
Bengals loss
Bengals.
at
Yeah,
home.
yeah, that was
I
rough.
would say those are their two bad losses that they have on their record right now. Now, obviously, you're not going to take it back. This may be a different conversation if they find a way to win those two games here. So, but now they get they get the Seahawks next week. They have Arizona the following week, and then their toughest competition coming up is in 2 weeks against my Ravens. So
Whew.
it's they have a good drive seat while the Eagles still have a gauntlet of a schedule to get through before things kind of ease up for them. You
Yeah,
know,
so
the Niners got to root for the Cowboys.
yeah,
They
yeah.
have Cowboys next week.
Yeah, Eagles get that third loss, all of a sudden things change, you know. So
Yep.
let's get caught up in the chat. I know we've been talking about the game for a minute. Got Mama Lay. Hello boys, how you doing? What's up? And then we got Rachel chiming in with as a Niner fan, excuse me. Whoops. I wish we had Jimmy G. You can have him.
she
As a Raider fan, you can have him. Go ahead.
she's messing around with that because, as you know, I was pro Jimmy G when he was with the Niners because he was winning games, and now what he's doing now compared to what Brock Purdy's doing. Look, Brock Purdy's going to have to live under the scrutiny of when things go good and when things go bad.
Yeah.
So when those 3 games went bad,
Yeah, well,
you got that falls on the shoulders of the quarterback as well here.
Jimmy G is serving
You
serving
know,
Gatorade, so we ain't got to worry about him. I mean, he's
but
not doing anything.
I gave Brock Purdy his flowers today. He played a very good
Yeah, he
game
did.
outside of the first quarter. He made every single person forget about the first quarter with the way he played for the second, third, and fourth quarter. So, she had to throw that little jab in there. I get it.
All right. Well, nothing like a little jab now and again.
Little family love.
Hey, you know how it is. That's the only way to show it. So anything else on that? I think we're gonna move on to our next game, which was we talked about keeping an eye on this game and watching to see if it would be any interest, as both these teams are also fighting for their playoff lives, and that's the Broncos and the Texans. And before you start screaming at the screen, please do not turn the channel. I know we just said Broncos and Texans. Just hold on a second.
Stay with us, folks. Stay
It was a
with
good
us.
game. Okay, we're just gonna talk about it, and partly because these were one of the two matchups where there were two teams with over 500 records. There weren't a whole lot of other ones. I think no, yeah, there weren't. So yeah, but let's talk about it because this was actually a good game. We've been talking about C.J. Stroud for a while now, so getting the opportunity to watch him play, he really looks poised back there. He's a chunk yard quarterback. He loves, when I said chunk, not junk, he loves to put the ball in the air. He loves to get the ball over 20 yards. He's the best in the NFL getting the ball, getting receptions over 20 yards. And he's got quite the guy to get the ball to in Nico Collins. And I saw that on full display today. There were 2 plays today where Nico Collins was out there outrunning the Broncos DBs, seemingly standing alone by himself for 2 big plays, 2 touchdowns. And man, it really was a show. Or not 2 touchdowns, but 2 big plays. It really was a show. The problem that the Texans have after getting that big play, the Texans in the red zone, they struggled. They couldn't find a way to get the ball in the end zone. Almost to the point where it's like, if you get that big play, please just keep running. Don't fall. Please don't get tackled.
Yeah.
Because they were automatically bad in the red zone for a chunk of the game. So I think they've really got to find a way to improve that. But getting past that, they took care of the ball. The quarterback, C.J. Stroud, looked good. On the other end, the Broncos, I don't know what they were doing. They were down early. They made a valiant comeback. And then Russell Wilson started doing Russell Wilson type stuff. hanging on to the ball too long in the pocket, spinning around in a circle in the backfield, trying to escape a sack when he should just throw the ball away. And finally, when he does throw the ball, although the first one was tipped for an interception, that last one at the end of the game, I just felt bad for him. I don't know where that ball was going. I think it was just a heave because he was under pressure.
Yeah.
But Russell, he's struggling. He's struggling. And to see a guy who could possibly be a Hall of Famer, possibly. Just to see him in this position to where, he doesn't have a lot of time to throw the ball. When he tries to escape, he's back there looking like, running in circles and going. It looks awful. So,
Yeah, man.
I don't know what that was about. But in any case, good win for the Texans. They stay alive in the wild card hunt, and the Broncos can go home to Denver.
Like you said, Russell Wilson with 3 interceptions in a big game like that. It's not the Russell Wilson that we're all accustomed to when it came to big games here. But if you guys don't,
well, you mean the interception you threw in the Super Bowl, except for the interception you threw in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that too as well.
Okay.
That too
right.
as well. But look, again, the Texans have a lot of belief in how the season is going there. And this is another big game. They had come off the heels of losing to the Jags in a very close game here. They had to wake up and get ready for this game to keep their playoff hopes alive, and they came out and had a dominating game. In all honesty, the score does not reflect on how dominant the Texans were all game. They held the lead the entire game here up until when things got a little dicey in the fourth quarter. But Jimmy Ward, an ex-Niner, came up with the biggest play of the game here. So you can see that branch of Niner players. You can see how it's branching off to other teams here. And now the Texans are in a position where if the Jags lose again, they're right there for first place in the division there. So this was a good game for the Texans. I've enjoyed watching the Texans all year as just a fan of football. They've been a team to watch. And CJ Stroud's still in that hunt to be a dark horse to win the MVP of this league.
Yeah, and Stingley Jr. came over and got the interception, or excuse me, the third, I believe. Hopefully I got that right. Came over with a huge interception, man, that looked like it was a for sure touchdown for Sutton. And he came out of, I would say, about 5 yards to the right, picked the Jets up, cut the ball off in midair, intercepts it. I mean, that was an amazing play. He is, if folks don't know, the grandson of, I believe it's Derek or Darren Stingley, who was paralyzed by Jack Tatum, former Raider back in the late 60s, early 70s. So, in any case, yeah, man, great play. The Texas defense did look legit. They put a lot of pressure on Russell throughout the game, had him spinning around in a circle and throwing to the wrong team. So, kudos to them, man. I hope they make it to the playoffs. And
I hope so too.
I'd love to see them in one of those first round wild card playoff games against a team like the Ravens.
Stop, man. That's rude. How dare you put that out there like that? And knowing the Ravens, they play down to that lower potential that they're not supposed to be playing to.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
I appreciate that. Thanks, man. But let's go around the NFL, man. You actually had a chance to catch a lot of these games here.
Let's talk about
that stood out to you the most here. So Will Levis, the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, threw an interception, redeems himself by making the tackle, forcing a fumble, and recovers the ball here. You had a chance to catch a little bit of that game there. What was your overall thought of that?
Okay, so first off, I mean, I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. Okay, so if I can give everybody an idea of what happened here, Will Levis, who's the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, goes back to throw the ball. He throws the ball. He might have even gotten his hand hit as he was throwing the ball, and the ball gets intercepted by the other team. Will Levis, the same guy, I'm talking about the same guy as I'm going through this, the quarterback, runs up to the guy who intercepted the ball, and this is like in a 2 to 3 second time period. He catches the interception. Will Levis runs up to him, gets the hit on the DB. The DB he causes the fumble, the quarterback, then recovers the fumble. It's a trifecta. It's a quarterback trifecta of the greatest proportions. A quarterback in one play throwing an interception, making a tackle, forcing a fumble, and then recovering a fumble. I have never seen anything like that in the NFL. If you have not seen this play, please just look up Will Levis fumble recovery or the game from today. It's a highlight. Watch it.
It's worth watching.
It's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Great, great. And I'm not done. There's more. There's more, right? Derek Carr, Detroit, New Orleans game was crazy. I mean, the Lions came out looking like they were unbeatables, 21-0, I think, at one point. New Orleans comes roaring back, and the game is a little closer, but Detroit finds a way to pull it out at the end. What helped it was Derek Carr getting pile drived into the ground. I believe it was in the third. I want to say it was in the third quarter. And man, that man got hurt. He was on the ground for a good minute, got up, and was then on the sideline, and then was out of the game. Got knocked out of the game. So a big hit on him. And it was one of those old school, and it was the one where you get hit in the chest, your arm gets caught, the quarterback's arm gets caught like this, they just start doing this. He didn't let go, and that's why he got called for the penalty, because you have to let go of the guy after you hit him. But he held on to him and drove him all the way into the ground, into the dirt. I mean, if it was a cartoon, all y'all would have seen was his arm sticking out the top of the soil. It was bad.
But you know what?
He
probably didn't mind it because he got booed. Came back into the game when Taysom Hill or something like that. When he exited the game, he gets booed, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to play. I'm gonna get hurt. Hey, you pile drive me into this ground.
Yeah, Taysom Hill had a touchdown, but I don't know what New Orleans is thinking. They can try that Taysom Hill experiment if they want to. It's already happened before. It was called Tim Tebow, by the way. It didn't work out very well at all, so let that go. And you know, a little love goes out to the sideline judge that completely broke his leg on the sideline during the same game. Apparently got rolled up on at the end, and I happened to see the play, and you know how the NFL is smart. When something like that happens, they immediately like shift the camera somewhere else. But I did see it, dude. He got rolled up on as they were going out of bounds. Poor guy was on the ground holding what looked like a Twizzler, and he was in a lot of pain. So they got him off. They had to stop the game for a good 5 minutes or more to make sure that the guy was okay. So kudos to him. I hope he's okay. Let's see. And then my last one is the Titans and the Colts. I'm going back to this game again. Here's another one I haven't seen. I don't know what it was about this game. I don't know if it's because both these teams are crazy or atrocious or what, but this was crazy play too. The Colts block a punt, recover it for a touchdown. Awesome. They get a touchdown. On the ensuing 2-point conversion, the Colts, Minshew throws an interception that's ran back for a touchdown by the Titans. So literally, you had you had two plays happen back to back that where they scored touchdowns on one another in the most Three Stooges style fashion. It was this game. That game had everything. I watched a lot of football today, as B said. But yeah, that game it was like watching a train wreck. All these wonderful, terrible things were happening, which made that game interesting. So anyway, those are my top highlights from the around the league. And if you got one, guys, chime in too. If you got one, chime in the chat. Let us know if you saw something this weekend. You're like, what in the world was that? How did that happen? Let me know or let us know. We will be happy to talk about it on the show.
Yeah, man. And a real weird situation also happened this week in the NFL. Von Miller turned himself in after reports came out for domestic violence on his pregnant girlfriend. To the point where during the 911 call, she stated, he's pulling my hair. I have like some blood on me. You can hear in the background saying, stop it, I am pregnant. So Von Miller goes to turn himself in post bail. The NFL released a statement a couple days ago saying that they're not going to put him on leave just yet until the investigation is done. And then this morning, some weird news comes out.
What happened?
His girlfriend came out and said that the 911 call was blown out of context and an outrageous story, saying that nothing happened, everything is good, and we're fine, and we don't know what to think of it. I don't even know what to think of it.
I mean,
how does this story this quickly change from Monday to
We've
Sunday.
had this happen a few times. This also happened with the
Like,
basketball player for the Houston Rockets. I forgot his name,
mhm.
Porter. Oh man, I forgot his name. But same
Well,
situation.
no, yeah, yeah,
It was the
yeah,
same situation where remember that she said that he choked her and this and that, and then as time went on, they actually got into it. She then double backed and said, "No, that's not really what happened." And a part of me is like, well, maybe that's happened because maybe the woman is just afraid of the individual. Maybe that's what it is. Or it could be that they're just so pissed off that they're looking for a way to get back at the person. I don't know. The problem is, though, whether it be a lie on the front end or the back end, it's kind of hard to know which is which. You know what I mean? And we want to, we've had situations. There have been a lot of situations, especially in the NFL, where there have been domestic violence
yeah.
issues. We all remember, what's his name? Who was it?
Ray
Ray
Rice.
Rice. There you go. So, there have definitely been some
Yep.
situations. And NFL, especially in the NFL, where, there's talk about brain injuries and talk about, what's it called?
CTE.
CTE and guys who have committed suicide and some of the so there's some conversations to be had around a lot of these topics, but what we don't need is similar situations like this where we get inconsistent stories where nobody really knows what to believe. I mean, if the guy's an abuser, he should be called that. If he's not, he shouldn't. But the gray area is not doing anything for anybody. It's not doing anything for abused women, and it's not doing anything for guys, any guys who are predators or who are, abusers, I should say.
Yeah. It just this story was just so weird because it went from what the hell was Von Miller doing to what is this about now?
Right.
And it all happened within a week here. You know what I'm saying? So investigation is going to go on. I want to know exactly who the hell is lying and who the hell is telling the truth. To be
Right.
quite honest with you, because
Exactly.
we just don't
We
know.
don't. We don't.
So
We have no idea.
um,
And that's the problem.
pick 'em dummies, and I'm going to applaud you, my man. 3 and
What happened? What I do?
0 this week. 3
Oh,
and 0 this week on your
yeah.
picks.
That's right, baby.
So for those who don't know,
I'm the
we do a
best.
Friday night pick 'em dummies. Every Friday night we pick
DJ
3
Khaled.
games each.
I'm the greatest.
All he does is win. Now, we've been doing this all season, and we've been yet to get to 3 and 0. I went 0 and 3 a few times, but the elusive 3 and 0 club is finally made. T, your first dub was the Texans -3. They pulled that off by 2 here
Let's
for
do
you.
it.
The Lions -4.5 took that victory as well. And here's the luckiest where you got. The
Let's do
Chargers
it.
and the Patriots decided to play the worst football game this week. The Chargers were 5.5-point favorites, and you won by a
cover,
game
baby.
of 6-0.
Let's go.
You got credit by that half point. So, T, congratulations, man. Tell everyone how you did it. Tell us all
Oh
how
man.
you did it, man.
Well, guys, what I do is I meticulously look at the data from the previous. No, I don't do any of that. We get on the show. We look at the game for 5 minutes. I look at the matchups I think make sense, and if I don't like a team and I pick against them, I don't know. But it's been working for me. So what can I say? Like we always say during Pick'em Dummies, don't use my picks to make any money. But I seem
Would
to
have
be
been the perfect
doing
week.
pretty well.
This week
I
would
seem
have
to be
been
doing pretty well.
perfect.
Yeah, man. I could have won some money.
I took the Colts -1.5. That overtime saved me. Needed to touch that Eagles and Niners game, and that literally blew up in my face like a Godzilla heat radar. The Eagles were +3. They should have been +20 to say the least. The way they showed up today. And currently, I had the Chiefs at -6, and well, I'm not going to get into that right now. So,
You got a chance
for me, man.
got a
I
chance
still
on
have
that
a
one.
chance, but I'm
Yeah.
probably going to end up going 1-2 once again. So, folks, next week, whatever picks T has, I suggest you go with it. Whatever picks I do the opposite of what I'm doing, man. It's just terrible right now.
If it makes y'all feel any better, he's doing pretty well in the fantasy world. So
Let's talk about fantasy football right now, my man. Let's
I
talk
really don't.
about it.
I tried to tell you earlier. I don't really want to talk about it because there isn't anything to talk about. I am losing, folks. I'm 4-8. I'm down by 9 points. I've still got Patrick Mahomes playing, who is trying his best to make this as difficult on me as possible. I've got Chase on Monday, and my opponent has Kirk. I don't know who the hell that is. The wide receiver for the Jaguars on Monday as well. So I don't know, man. It's going to be real close for me. Meanwhile, actually, you know what? That's it. Show's over. We don't need to talk about anything else. We should move on.
Nah, come on, man.
We should move on to the next thing. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
B's undefeated.
I'm going 13-0.
Yeah.
13-0 this week, man.
Okay, all right.
Let me tell you this. I had a running back who was out last minute, so I couldn't make the change. I had the defense give me negative points, and I was so confident in my team, I decided not to go pick up a kicker and waste a spot on my bench.
Oh my god!
I literally won this.
You on some Terrell Owens level. You on some TO type stuff right now. You on some TO level cockiness right now, my friend. This man is out here basically saying he spotted 2 players, didn't even play a kicker.
Three when you look at it.
See what I mean? We don't have to. You know what? I'm not gonna take that disrespect. If there's anybody in the chat that's also on our in our fantasy league, feel free to chime in and help me put this man in his place. I mean, you still playing, and he over here talking about how he didn't even play his running back. I didn't play my kicker. I barely even played 3 guys, and I still won. Come on, man. I mean.
Oh, I like to give a shout out to Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, and Nico Collins. Thank you, guys. 5 players. That's all I needed this week.
You're going to be buying yourself a championship belt, man. You buy yourself a championship belt. That's some bull. Anyway,
I love it. This is a first for me in fantasy football, so I'll take it. Hey, let's get to the NBA here. Your team.
Oh, we're beautiful. I mean, we're all right. We're up and down, up and down. You know, we win one, we lose one. So the Lakers had a couple of good victories against the Rock. You know, they beat Detroit. That's not a big of a deal. They had a pretty good game showing against the Rockets.
Detroit ain't won a game it feels like all of last year too.
They suck. But they got obliterated against the Sixers and Oklahoma City, who were actually good teams. The Lakers are still waiting on some key guys to get back into action. Rui Hachimura did not play last game. He hopefully will be in the next game they play on Tuesday against the Suns. And then you got Vanderbilt comes back, but he's going to take him about a month to get into game shape. The surprises really were, I think, Max Christie, Cam Reddish playing as great defenders is really kind of sparked some interest, at least for me. AD has been playing lights out. I just want to point that out. Even in these losses, Anthony Davis has been playing well. So we can stop talking about him, please. But the problem is their offense stinks. And more often than not, they end up staring at each other instead of moving the ball around. And that's one of the things that's been concerning. We talked about it last time where LeBron ends up being the offense and then everybody's staring at him. Or, you know, LeBron does the thing where he goes stand in the corner. It depends on what's going on. And they really have to play a offense, some type of half-court offense every time down the floor. D'Lo has been flourishing whenever the ball is in his hands and they can run pick and roll with AD. I think they should be running pick and roll every single time and involve Anthony Davis on every play. That's worked well for them and opened up shots for other people. Guys just got to remember to move around. And when Bron's on the floor, for goodness sake, please don't take that darn sidestep 3. That's garbage. Do not take that shot, Bron. We do not need that. I was so relieved to see him take a free throw distance jumper in the game against the Rockets. I actually think he's better served to be in the mid-range, even though statistics say you need to take a 3. He shoots a better percentage from there, and I think it's better for him because most of his threes are him dribbling for 10 seconds, then just, you know, the last 2 seconds of the shot clock, stepping to the side and throwing the ball off the backboard.
Yeah, man, and now next up for the Lakers is the in-season quarterfinal,
right.
the LeBron James tournament,
That's right.
to say the least here.
They will win.
You know,
the Lakers will win.
Well, yeah, because it's the in-season tournament. It's the LeBron. It's the LeBron James tournament, to say the least. Here,
it's the LeBron Vegas team ownership stake tournament. That's what this is. LeBron ownership stake tournament. That's what this is. So yeah, no, for
Let,
sure, man.
let me ask you this: your team is in the quarterfinals now that we've gotten through the pool play, as you could say, of the in-season
Yeah,
tournament.
pool play. Yeah.
What are your thoughts of it? We were very negative about it, to say the least. Now that we've gotten to the quarterfinals, outside of your LeBron-driven
Yeah.
team, what do you think of it so far?
Actually, the games have actually been pretty competitive for the most part. There have been some games that haven't, but from what I've seen, most of the games have been fairly competitive. So I can't necessarily talk down on it. I don't know if the players are getting up to play more for it. Although I will say again, there's been some competitive games overall.
Some choking,
Yeah,
some choking.
yeah. I don't know what your Warriors were doing, but yeah, I mean, but yeah. So I think I kind of like the idea. I'm warming up to it. I kind of thought it was stupid to begin with. I think the real test will be when we see these guys play in the actual tournament part of it, to see how hard guys are competing, how much they're competing, and how much folks are really giving to this tournament. I mean, quite honestly, let's see, what did they get? Like 500,000 a player, I think. So 500,000.
500,000 a player.
So this might not mean anything for say the Steph Currys of the world. But it might mean something for your backup guys. What's that little curly head kid you guys got, Podwitsky or
Potentially.
Yeah, $500,000 for $500K for him. Hey, that's probably half. This might be about half his salary, or at least maybe a third or a quarter of his salary. So yeah, man, it's a big deal for those guys. So I'm ready. I'm waiting to see what the turnout is in Vegas, and if we get a good turnout, and you get a lot of attendance, and you get folks cheering and hollering in the crowd, and guys are really competing, then I think it's a good move by the NBA to again get a Las Vegas NBA franchise.
Yeah, the quarterfinals kick off this Tuesday, so we'll see how that reaction goes.
Absolutely.
But man, let me talk about my Warriors here, because this thing is turning into a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, it was
to say the least. Since the losing streak has taken place, we have had suspended players. We've had suspended players come back and still act normal, which I'm not going to beat around because that's my guy. But man, just some bad losses this week here. They had the Kings down by 24 points.
Yeah.
Needed to give it right back to them, where they needed to win by 12 in order to advance in the in-season tournament. And me as a fan was actually pushing for it because I want to see my team in the quarterfinals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway from that game this week was Moses Moody was perfect from the field. He was perfect from the three-point line. He was perfect from the free throw line. Proceeds to get pulled out by Steve Kerr to allow Andrew Wiggins back into the game. And Wiggins wasn't having a bad game.
Yeah.
But Moses Moody was turning that game around for the Warriors here. And I've never questioned Steve Kerr when it comes to coaching, because he's done all the right things. This is the first time he did not do the right thing. You got to stick with the hot hand. Moses Moody has sat himself on the bench too many times to learn, and now he's thriving in it. He just dropped 21 against the Clippers, the other night in a loss. He's playing some really good defense. And in all honesty, I think it's time for him to get the start over Klay Thompson, because Klay Thompson ain't playing too well.
Wow, that's a bold statement right there. That's a bold statement
right now.
So
we have to start looking to see where the future is going to take the Warriors here. And now you are getting a prime look of what it can be. He's starting to become a really good perimeter, great one, but that's coming with improvement here. But the offense that's there for him is turning around. He is almost lights out with an open three-point shot. Yep. And there's a lot of guys in this league that still can't hit an open three-pointer.
Right.
The way he gets to the rim, the way he rebounds, the overall hustle, he's outplaying Klay Thompson for that starting position. Dude, Klay Thompson's shot has not been the same since the two major injuries here. And that's nothing against him. But this is the point where you have to think about Moses Moody is going to be coming up on a rookie extension, and this is Klay's final year before a contract. So there's going to be a contract to be given to one of these players for big money. Who you give it to? And right now, I'm leaning towards Moses Moody getting that contract.
Yeah, man, and I gotta say it, man. Look, you guys wasted one of the best Draymond Green offensive outputs in the past 2 seasons. Draymond was automatic from 3 for a second there. against the Clippers in that game where you guys had a 20-point lead and you guys turned around and gave it all back. I'm surprised Draymond didn't, just get kicked out of the game at the end of that thing. I mean, not only did you give up the lead and lose, but you also gave up the lead and barely won not too long ago as well against the same team, against the Clippers. So there is a trend here where the Warriors are, and I hate to call you guys this, but you kind of have some of that front runner mentality where you guys get up big and then you kind of take your foot off the gas pedal because, the game's kind of over. But teams are hanging around, and especially teams like the Clippers, they're good enough to hang around. And so the Warriors have to find a way to play continued.
What
Oh, I
you say
lost
about
it.
the Clippers?
What happened?
What'd you say?
I said
What'd you say about the
they're
Clippers?
good enough to come back. They've got enough players to come
I'm
back.
surprised. I'm surprised you even mentioned the word
Yeah,
good
well,
with the
I'm just
Clippers.
saying. I mean, you guys got to play better. That's all. I mean, seriously. I mean, look. I'm disappointed because you were supposed to. You should have beat the Clippers. That you should have
We
beat
should
them.
have.
You beat them once. Go back and do it again. It was the same style of game. You're up big. They had no reason being in that game at all. And then it's slowly but surely they climb themselves back in the game. Y'all let Russell Westbrook all of a sudden start getting loose, and then here comes Kawhi Leonard with his robotic jump shot, and then the Warriors kind of forgot how to play defense for a couple of quarters, and I just trying to find some consistency with your team is difficult, and I do agree that when it comes to Kuminga, Woody, and Klay Thompson, Moody, excuse me, not Woody, you guys got to figure out who's playing when, and be consistent with that lineup because you got to get more output out of those three guys. Seriously.
I, I honestly, if I've been talking about some trade scenarios, I honestly think you could package Kaminga and Thompson for DeMar DeRozan and Vujicic from Chicago. Because at some point, Chicago's going to blow that team
Oh
up,
yeah,
man.
they're
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 not.
yeah they suck.
They're done.
They're
So at
garbage.
some point, Warriors have to start looking to maybe bring in some additional pieces. I think Kaminga had that quick start, but you see the
Yeah,
consistency coming out of
it's
Moody,
yeah.
to say the least here. So if I
Kaminga's
had to pick between the two,
yeah.
you got to go Moody.
Yeah, no, I would say so too. I was surprised to watch him play, man. He knocked down a couple of threes back to back. He's all over the floor. He's defending well. He's a guy that can help rebound as well, especially on a team like the Warriors where everybody's short. And so yeah, he provides a lot of energy.
Thanks.
He provides a lot of energy. So
He
I
does.
think
He
I think
does.
that's what you need. Kaminga, he's good, and he had that one dunk that was ridiculous. Did you see that?
Oof.
Oh man, he caught
Yeah.
the ball in
When
the
he
lane and
posterized
just
him, that was dope.
what was that guy's name? I don't even know what his name was. But anyway, I think that was
No,
Zubats.
yeah, he ain't important.
Yeah,
I
whatever.
think it was
I
Zubats.
think
Yeah.
it was Zubats. Yeah, man, he just went straight up and just yacked it. But outside of some of those highlight plays, you don't always get the consistency from Kaminga, especially with the jump shot. So now that Moody is
Yeah.
rounding in the form with the jumper, I mean, you got a cheap 3 and D guy you can throw out there and that can eat up some of those minutes. Because poor Clay can't guard a picket fence anymore. Has anybody seen the ice those things he has around his knees when he's not in the game? Have you seen those?
Things are ginormous,
Dude,
man. I
he
would be my whole body be wrapped in that thing.
he out there looking like Patrick Ewing, man, at the later stages of his career. Like he's got the giant, huge hockey. It looks like he's wearing hockey pads. He or goalie pads. And I question how much longer can Klay Thompson play at this level, even though he's not playing that well, for this team. I just don't. I don't know if he can do. He's not the. He can't defend anybody anymore. He just can't. You know what I mean?
And the league is a perimeter league now.
Yeah.
So you gotta find that perimeter defense once again here. Let's get a little caught up in the chat. Bobby says hi T. Oh, Brian's here with a side eye face. So don't get me started on you, Bobby. He made it just in time for the NBA talk. Isn't that wonderful? You did. We can't talk about the Raiders because y'all had a bye, and he led right into that saying, "T, no L for our Raiders today, yay."
Yeah, and did you get David's comments about Kerr?
Kerr admitted that he made a mistake in pulling Moody. He said that we'll be seeing more Moody from this point
Yeah, we
forward.
hope.
But you gotta hope that that's the case here. Like Steve Kerr is a guy who loves his starters. He loves his OGs, and that is clear. But this is the point, and we haven't even talked about the injuries that the Warriors sustained.
Yeah.
Gary Payton II's out indefinitely, and I called it. Chris Paul got hurt.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
We all saw
who didn't know that he's going to get
we
hurt
all
at
saw
some
that
point?
coming.
Yeah.
Moody should be this go-to guy now, and I think you need a veteran off the bench. Clay, put your ego to the side. Put everything to the side. We need you now to help anchor that second unit, and you got to slide Moody into that starting position for the time being until you can figure a rotation out. I think Moody has earned that spot to play with that group in the starting lineup.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think so too. And Saric has been playing so up and down that you do need somebody with that second unit to kind of be consistent with the scoring. And outside of Curry, I don't think you have very many consistent scorers on the team.
Nope.
So
nope, not at all.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Let's go around the association. Guess who joined the top 10 scoring of all time here? And a guy
your favorite team. Your favorite team.
Here.
It's your favorite. You're
KD.
Former Warrior.
Will get his flowers. Congratulations, KD, on becoming the 10th all-time scorer in NBA history. I don't see him catching LeBron to say the least.
No.
A very high achievement though to enter the top 10. A guy who's been in the league for over almost 15 years now.
Yeah.
So congratulations to KD. That's all you're going to get out of me as far as that goes. But I wanted to say congratulations. We want to say congratulations from B and T.
Absolutely. And LeBron is quickly approaching 40,000 points, which will happen eventually here. I guess the problem for KD is that LeBron is not retired yet, and that number keeps getting bigger and bigger. So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like when he breaks that 40,000 point barrier. The only player in NBA history to ever do this, obviously Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Mike, got close, but nobody else has gotten that close since. So interesting. We are watching history, people. No matter how much you hate LeBron James, when it's
40,000 points,
when it's all said and done, he's gonna be top 5 points, top 5 rebounds, top 5 assists. So I mean, there are very few players that can say all that.
Absolutely. Here,
all right.
I'll let you talk about the next one, man, because it goes with you going 3-0 in sports gambling. Your boy LeBron, man.
Yeah, it's a story. It's a story. I don't know how deep this is gonna go, but apparently LeBron's manager Maverick Carter was involved or talked to federal agents about him betting with an illegal bookie on games, NBA games. So there's some, there's some questions about if he bet on games LeBron was actually playing in. This is obviously going to spark a little bit of questions about what's going on here, why, or is LeBron involved? Yeah. Is LeBron betting on his own games through Maverick Carter? And that's why at the end of games he keeps passing it to other people. I don't know. But we'll see. I don't know if there's a lot to the story. I think this is one of those stories that will kind of fall off because the NBA hasn't formally come out and really said much. We just know that he has talked to federal agents about it. Same thing with the Giddey thing. We talked about that, but there hasn't really been any news. And then come to find out, if you're in Oklahoma, and I don't know, actually you had to read this. I don't know what it is in California, but you know what the age of consent is in Oklahoma City?
What?
The age of consent. Like consent for a girl to be with a man that's, above 18. It's 16. 16.
Ooh.
So there may be a chance here that if she's 16 years old, that this is not against the law. It just isn't.
But yeah,
I hate to break everybody's heart. I know it sounds gross, but unfortunately, the age of consent is 16 in Oklahoma City. So if you're 16, you can date or be in a consensual relationship with someone a man over the age of 18. Anyway, sorry to burst everyone's bubble. So it might not be a story at all. Man. Might not be a story at all. We'll see. A little gross, but not a story.
Let's end the night. We haven't really discussed all year, but man, did they give us a topic to discuss this year. Now, let me ask you this, T. If your favorite team in college went 13-0, won their conference title game, was a top team all year. It's hard to get into the college football playoff, and they told you we're not going to put you guys in. How would that make you feel?
Well, man, obviously, I would feel like a slap in the face as a fan. But imagine being a player who's playing the games, who's given their blood, sweat, and tears, and feels like they have the opportunity to be the best team. And just for somebody with a notepad and a pencil to look at them and say, "No, I'm sorry, we decided that you can't play," and they haven't even lost a game all year. So I think it's ridiculous. It's crazy, man.
Well, the college football season is officially over. Now the postseason begins. Now, for those who are new to this, college football used to only have two teams playing for a national championship. Now they decided to push it to four. So this year, today, they announced the four teams who will be playing for the college football national championship. Now, the first three teams I agree with. Number one, Michigan. I mean, against all speculations of them cheating, they won their conference. They finished the season undefeated. They deserve to be in the national in the playoffs here. Two, the University of Washington went undefeated in the Pac-12. Potential Heisman winning quarterback on their team as well. Finished the season at number two. Deserves to be in the playoffs here. At number three, the one loss team, the Texas Longhorns, won their conference championship. Beat a team that if somehow found a way into the championship talk. At number three. So I agree with that. But here's where things got absolutely out of control. You would figure an undefeated team from a Power 5 conference would be making the playoffs.
Bam.
All of a sudden, it's not happening. The Alabama Crimson Tide have found their way into the playoffs sitting at number
Oh
8
my god.
ranking.
Fucking
Right
Alabama, man.
before yesterday happened, Alabama was ranked 8th. They beat the number 1 team in the nation, Georgia, to win the SEC championship. But they leapfrogged 4 spots to the playoffs here. I've never seen such a money grab by the NCAA to get this team into the playoffs like I've ever seen before here.
Yeah, man. Dude, we talked about this a lot about how the NCAA really is just a cash cow. And at this point, we can't sit and try to make it seem as though that, amateur sports or collegiate sports is some type of, holier than thou situation because the kids are playing so hard and blah, 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 yada, 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 1,000 people in the stands, 100,000 people in the stands, so on and so forth. This is a money grab, folks. This is a business, okay? The NCAA is trying to make sure that the biggest names are on the stage so that they can promote their product and make as much money as possible. There's a very simple way to fix all of this, right, B? Well, how do you do it?
Yep.
Extend the playoff to 8 teams. That's all you have to do. Then you don't have to do stupid stuff like this where Georgia, who was number 1, by the way, before losing to Alabama, they completely fall out of the entire thing as well. You get an opportunity to see some of these teams play against each other from different conferences, and you make it so that if I do get to that SEC championship game, and say both teams are undefeated, or both team one like we just saw, one lost team, one undefeated team, one of them loses, they both still get the opportunity to compete. And for Texas and Alabama to be one lost teams to go ahead of a team that is undefeated, basically just based on strength of schedule, I'm assuming because they're in the ACC and not the SEC, is ridiculous. And I think they need to go ahead and extend it to 8. You're going to make more money anyway, NCAA. So don't get your panties in a bunch here. You can extend it to 8 teams. You'll get the best 8 teams playing against one another. We don't have to have all these dumb arguments about who's in and who's out because there are 8 spots available. And then we don't have to have these arguments. And you'll get more people to watch NCAA ball for a longer period of time. You don't just get the one playoff game and then the final. No, we get 8 teams, get it down to 4, get it down to 2. Now it's a real playoff. So yeah, I hope that they make that change. I think it's a shame for a team like Florida State, who doesn't get that opportunity after playing so well all season, only to have it ripped from them because a one-loss team beat an undefeated team. You should at least get the opportunity to prove that you deserve to be there. And this just takes away from that.
So you brought up a good point. Texas and Alabama both with 1 losses. But you know what's funny? You know how Alabama suffered that 1 loss?
Now.
They got beat by Texas.
No.
Texas earned that
Right.
one lost spot to be in there because if you're gonna sit there and compare it like that, well, Texas holds the advantage over Alabama,
Yeah.
and Florida State ran through their conference,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
The thing that they're holding Florida State against is their star quarterback went down with an injury 2 games, or I think 2 weeks prior to the ACC championship,
Uh,
and they barely got by. But you know what? That's because they were on their third quarterback, so they should have lost, but they didn't. They found a way to win late in the season to keep a perfect season there,
yeah.
and now they're not going to be playing for a national championship here.
Yeah.
So the fact that the committee comes out and says that all leads me to believe that this was a money grab, to say the least. Here's my other belief in why it's a money grab. With the new alliance of the conferences, only two conferences are represented in this in these playoffs here. The Big Ten, which is Michigan and Washington, and then the SEC, which is Alabama and Texas.
Yeah.
Wake up, folks. Come on.
Yep, man.
Year,
It is. It
the
is.
NCAA has always said the team with the best record deserves to play, right? The Florida State had a better record than those two teams.
Yeah.
So you have to give them a spot in the championship.
Yeah.
And then you hold it between Texas and Alabama. Hell, you could have even thrown Georgia in the conversation because those are three teams with one losses.
That's
But
true.
last time I checked, if it's a tiebreaker, Texas owns that tiebreaker because they beat Alabama.
Right.
So it's a disgrace to the way they try to set up the college football playoffs. Embarrassing that they wanted to choose Alabama because they know they're going to get the fans, they know they're going to get the travel, and now here's the best part. Guess what that matchup is? Who plays Alabama?
We got. They play in Michigan.
They play Michigan at the Rose Bowl. So you know how we
Yeah.
talked about the Pac-12 coming
Yeah.
to an end and the Rose Bowl being one of the best bowl games
Yeah.
that there is? Let's think about it. Rose Bowl, New Year's Day. How do we get people to watch? Michigan and Alabama. Let's go have them play
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
It's strictly for views and
Right.
money,
Yeah.
right? They're not allowing the best team to play in it, which is it's a tragedy, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate where it is, but you know what, man? I don't think it's going to change too much. Except the only thing I think that can be done to make it more interesting for us, the fans, is again add those 4 more teams. Let's make it an 8-team tournament, and let's at least give every team that we think has a viable opportunity to compete against one another. So hopefully that happens
Dude,
soon.
the FCS has an 8-team playoff.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There you go. You get the 8 best teams in there. So take it from the subdivision and bring it up to the big boys.
It's already
there.
been tested, baby.
All right?
It's already been tested. You just got to run it.
Tested and it's approved.
Right.
So, I had to get that off my chest there. I got up this morning and they were releasing the rankings, so I'm watching it. And then when I saw Alabama's name on there, I literally leaned over my bed and just threw up violently like The Exorcist, man. I have to watch another college football playoff with Alabama. Dude, college football has had the 3 same teams in it for the majority: Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama.
Yeah, man, it's becoming
like, get the hell out of here
automatic.
with that.
It's automatic. It's automatic. So, oh man, well I think that's all we got. Hopefully you're watching, B, but the Chiefs are getting the ball back. They're only down by 2, so you've got a chance here if they can find a way to get on the board.
I don't know how much of a chance I have though, man. I got them at -6. I need at least 2
7.
touchdowns.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I know. I just need Pat to throw another touchdown because that's what I need for my fantasy situation we got going on here. I am now down by 5 points. Still, I'm down by 5 points with 1 player to play tomorrow, and man, I am hoping for a win here.
Hey, I got 5 more points. Thanks, Dobbs. Appreciate that. I forgot I had them playing.
I'm sorry. I should have even brought up the fantasy thing. My bad, y'all.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
I should have just left it alone. I should have known that's where it was going to go. Well, folks, I think that's all we got. We appreciate folks for joining in the chat. Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Mama Lay. Thanks, Rachel, for getting in on the action. David, if you got anything you want to drop in the chat, we're always looking, so make sure that we respond And again, don't forget to catch Fridays. We usually drop our video around 9 p.m. For Pick'em Dummies. As you know, I'm the king. I've been doing pretty well for myself lately, even though I don't have any money to show
Yes, you
for it.
have.
But join us, and it's not a live show. We just dropped the video, so you just hit that. Make sure you hit that notification buttons. You'll get notified. Watch the video. Hopefully, some of our picks are helping you set up some of your picks. I only want 10%. I only want 10%. Anyway, so so until next time, we'll see y'all. B, you got anything else to throw in there?
Have a great week, everyone. We'll catch y'all later.
All right, y'all have a great week. Peace.
Peace.